Alright, so the last video I filmed, the phone battery timed out. So what I've been noticing, because I'm ground level during the coronavirus, it's 2K20 now, it's July 16th, 2020, and basically since the eviction. Hey, take it easy, man, have a good day. See ya. So since the eviction case in, like, what was it, January 7th, 2019, basically since then I've just been kind of on the move, trying to deal with some of these lawsuits with the ex-business partner, with the ex-wife, and her parents, and the church, and like solar companies, and all this dumb shit. And that like weird guy who thought he knew how to own a home or a rental property. It's just an idiot. Plus all the shit with jail and court and all that stuff. So that's all finished. But got this one back again, and this one. So I've been homeless basically all of 2019. Spent some time on the couch, then some time in the car. My car got taken, so there's still that shit with Volkswagen Group of America. Some time in Zach's car, then switched that for the van, and dropped that van, switched that for the other van, which is sick. Like, those Dodge camper vans are money, so I still want to get another one of those or figure out what happened to mine. And that was all in 2019, so there still should be an outcome. It has a VIN number. It's not going to go blow up somewhere, but I just don't know where it is, and I had a lot of belongings in there, just like my storage unit. So there's another one. That's another Utah-based company. So I'm trying to figure these things out, but I have pretty good video documentation and evidence of all these things that are wrongdoings against me. So it's not me playing patty cake, pretending like I'm a victim. Like, these are things that really happened that ultimately led me into a position where I got false accusations and death threats and people telling me all kinds of shit that I'm worthless, and then now I've been homeless. So like 2019 was fine because I was somewhat just like dealing the first time with like what happens if I sink my credit score, or if I, for the first time basically my whole life, like have to dip around the black and red line of if I'm running out of money. And the van life was fine. It wasn't perfect because like the van was $800 and I was working on it, so it wasn't like it was the cleanest or the softest or like fully completed to actually like do a van tour of California, which I think a lot of people would really enjoy. Not just California, but just those van tours anyway, so you could be more on the move and see more places at once. But it was doable because I can at least lock my stuff up, and I just, every time I get the police come, I'm just like, yes, I have the bill of sale, here's the title, I'm trying to get it smogged. And I ultimately ended up paying the licensing fee, the registration fees, even though it broke down at the Airbnb right when it snowed in Lake Tahoe. So from that point on, from 2020, it's just like I only spent 2 nights in a bed in Miami in the winter, and it was freezing cold, iguanas falling out of trees. So that was January 1st, Haitian New Year's, till I think the 21st. I think it was exactly 3 weeks. So only 2 nights in a hostel, the rest outside, either on the beach or in a hammock or near one of the gyms, so I can go in the middle of the night and sit in the sauna or something to warm up. So I kind of strategically made it so I could survive. And then that opportunity to fly out when I had $0, like I flew to Miami with $400, so then I fly out. I probably covered this before, but I haven't filmed a vlog for a little while. But then, like, walking all over, and then flying into Vegas, so 4 weeks in Vegas, where I at least had a bed and a shower and a refrigerator and a microwave, and it was just a weird situation with Rich. Just, I can't live in that slow lane of just a guy that's just like, I just sit around and just like, I'm kind of, I don't really do sales, but I don't really manage, and I don't really run things like an owner. I'm just kind of an extra, and it's just like, that made me really extra because it just pissed me off. But the issue was hanging over my head in 2020 the whole time when I'm filming those videos that I upload to my YouTube. I still didn't know what was going to happen missing that court date. So that's already taken care of now, because after the Vegas situation and then being outside a few days filming more videos and then riding a bus down to Venice, or where did I get out? Just South Central LA. Then that whole issue happened with all of March, where it's UCLA, then get picked up on that dumb thing. They say I have a warrant. I don't know how that works. So 5 days in the county jail here in LA. And then this is creepy ass dude. And then those 23 days back where they transferred me up without bringing my stuff, which was so fucking weird. to the Placer County Jail, the Roseville location. So those court appearances, and it's just like nobody's in my court. I'm in my corner, like I don't have family or anyone coming there, so I'm just standing there figuring out, like, if I mess up, if I say something wrong, this is still very relative. Like if the judge just like doesn't like me that day, and that was right before the virus happened, I'm just like bam. But I got out the misdemeanor, and then I had to go figure out how, like, luckily I had that, I think I've covered all this stuff, but luckily I had that money from the little bit of Facebook trying to raise money for a van, which didn't end up I kind of raised $2,400 when everyone's raising hundreds of $1,000s on Kickstarter. Dave Bird and Bowman Farr and Connor O'Leary and all these people. I can't raise $2,400 because people don't like controversy, even though they love controversy. So get down, I have to go all the way back down, get the Greyhound to figure out how to get my winter jacket, Target winter jacket, so I can go get my stuff and my belongings in my backpack. And I threw away my weed and my cologne. So how am I supposed to get babes without weed and cologne? I don't think they should have thrown that away. But then that whole experience of like, okay, it's still freezing cold, like Jude sent me that little bit of money. I'm like, okay, I'll go see what's going on in Arizona. I still have customers and referrals and clients and things going on, so I was like, okay, maybe there's an opportunity to do some solar here while it's at least warm in March and April. So that was April 1st. Catch the bus, go there. Same thing, I spent those 5 nights that he gave me off of his rewards points in the hotel, but other than that I was there 3 weeks, just like Florida, Miami, so, or 1 day short. So I went there April 1st and came back on 4/20, April 20th off the bus, and so 5 of those nights I was in a bed, which was great because I got a shower and like clean off, like your feet get all dirty and all this crazy shit. I'm probably a few thousand miles this year or whatever. So I get back and I'm back in California, the land of 7-Elevens. It was hard to find a 7-Eleven there. I'm a season ticket holder, rewards point holder, and now I'm already halfway through the year, which is crazy because I keep track of my body, my physique, my nutrition, all that stuff, but it's way different when you're on the actual street level and you're sleeping outside and you're trying to stay warm and you're trying to keep 2 bags, and like during the day it's like, oh, I can't walk over there because if I leave my bag someone's going to take it. I already lost 1 full bag. I've had stuff taken out of the lockers, I've had people go through my belongings, and it's just like the crazy shit that I've seen on the streets is out of control. But it took almost 2 full months since then. So basically since I got back, that 10 or 11 days, the 10 days that close out April, it was just like when I found a park, and I went back and forth between Venice and LA and Santa Monica, and it's pretty accommodating for homeless people. There are plenty of homeless people in there. It took me a while to actually figure out how to talk to the right people to figure out where you can get food and stuff, right as I was running out of that last little bit of money. So then you can go stand in line at the Salvation Army or the OPCC or whatever, and they have different scheduled times where you wait in line and get some food. It's pretty nice. Like tonight, it's Thursday, so tonight at the Salvation Army they'll have like a hot meal. Sometimes it's pasta, sometimes they'll have like a burger or something, or some tacos. They have this biscuits and gravy this couple Sunday mornings that have been unbelievable. I only had it once. But anyway, I don't know anyone out here. I have family, but they're still a little bit distant because of all this weird Mormon church shit with how my mom and my dad are in Utah and my older brother, and it's just really been frustrating. Where it's just like, come on, you guys, my dad has $1 million. He can't send me $4,000 for a van. It's just always the same. He gets all sassy with me. Well, if you have enough money to buy your cigars and your weed, you need help from us. I'm like, okay, you're not the one homeless out here sleeping. Like, just get over your pride and just make it happen before I sue you for everything you're worth. You don't have any skills like this. Like, my dad's not an Eagle Scout. He doesn't know how to survive. Like, if he had to do 1 month, just 1 month, they just think, oh, a month goes by. It's like a few Sundays where I have to ask people to pray in church. If you had to do a month on the streets, especially in the winter, good luck. So it took me the first month because they make these things so difficult, plus everything was shut down with the coronavirus, so you can't just go plug your phone in. You can't just go sit in the lobby and just like kind of clean up and kind of not look homeless. You just look more like you're just, I'm just here right now, even though I have 2 bags and a jacket or whatever. But it's so hard to find a place to plug in, and my phone wasn't working. So I'm back on my old work iPad trying to get stuff done, trying to figure out those like the social services options so I can get food stamps or whatever, so I can at least control a little bit of what I'm eating instead of always just waiting in the line getting a sandwich and like a banana. Like, that's fine, I still went today, but it's nice to just get, all they do is they put it on a little debit card and you can still go to 7-Eleven or go to a gas station or a couple of restaurants, Burger King. So you at least have a little bit more control over your diet. And so I get off the bus in April at night and walk through Skid Row by myself. And then like the weed thing isn't be like, oh, I want to party and have weed because I'm in California. I just love smoking weed. I just love weed. That's not what it is. Like, I have bipolar and I have like those components of schizophrenia where my brain does things differently, and my brain trauma and concussions and things. So it's very different for me. So weed is actually a medicine, just like when you see a green plus on the side of a building. It's like, okay, that looks good. Like, that's better than a pharmacy for me. I don't know all those pills and I don't need to get into that. But so I ended up having to hustle packs of cigarettes where you can buy a pack of 20, and never once have I ever smoked a cigarette. But I can take a pack of 20 cigarettes and sell them for $1 or 75 cents each, and buy a pack for $10 and end up making somewhere in difference $5-6, so I can buy a couple cigars, or like put that on the side a little bit to buy a little bit of marijuana when I can find some at a dispensary or someone has some at the park or whatever. Because tons of people have weed out here. It's not a big deal. The police don't care anymore. They're just like, just don't smoke in the park or whatever. So at least like California's getting chill with it finally. Just like at some point, like people go to the beach and drink alcohol, and it's not like, oh, or they're smoking a cigarette. So it's just slowly just like moving away from that stigma. But the first month, all of May, was just trying to figure out how to get the actual EBT SNAP card so I could get the food, the food stamps, which the word food stamps is still kind of confusing because it's not like you take these paper stamps and turn them in. Like, that may have been the old way, I don't know. But they work at the grocery store, so there are a few different grocery stores, so I can go get some crackers or some things like that or whatever, some bagels here and there. It's just, but you have to monitor it because you get $190, which sounds like a lot in a month, but if you break it down, like, you're still deciding between $5 and $10 purchases of like, can I stash this? Do I have this in my bag? Is this going to keep, or should I just like get the meal at Burger King and just be full for right now, or do I like bring this back and eat this later? So I kind of go back and forth between both of them. But then at the same time, like, you're not really finding places to plug in, and then there are protests, there are riots going on. Like, I got hit with tear gas, like all this shit. All the looting was right around me. Like the park, there's like a bunch of stuff going on all the time. Especially like things that happened with me. Like I OHS'd one guy, but another guy came and tried to take some soda from this dude that I bought some soda for, and I had to get in his face. The police came and took him out. Just a bunch of shit that goes on that you don't pay attention to until you're at like ground level. Like, this is your day to day, and you're sleeping on the benches hoping the police don't come turn their sirens on and kick you out. It's just like, it's so, you can't go deep into your subconscious and have real decent sleep that often. A couple times I have where I've fallen asleep at the beach, or like I get a space where I'm like, okay, I can sleep, or I've walked really far. So a couple different times where I had to walk. The first time to get the EBT card was all the way fucking down to Watts from Santa Monica, and I think that's a 34-mile round trip. But that was a crazy story in and of itself, because that was on Cinco de Mayo. But I ended up getting the card, so that was the win for May, was getting the food stamps. And then the second battle was, I applied for both at the same time, but the GR, which stands for General Relief, that's where you get cash on the same card, where you can go take cash out of an ATM and have cash. So cash, you can do whatever you need to. So I can buy some marijuana at the dispensary, or I can buy a sleeping bag, or I can buy toothpaste, or I can buy some cigars, or I can buy like a beer, or I can buy like a hammock or something, whatever, laundry detergent, go do laundry. Like, that was the other one. And so I battled that through all of June, finally got it, and had to go through 2 Obama phones. The first one, I had to make a whole nother trip back out there, all the way down like 120th and Western, which is even further, and that was when it was raining. So by the time I got back, like that night, at least I had a good sleep. But that's a long ass walk, and I'm walking around with like this cool little glider, this little shopping cart that ended up getting taken by the police too. So there are different times where I'm stuck with different problems. But 14 minutes anyway. So that one worked, and then this other option, this one lady was like, hey, they're gonna bring a few trailers into this Griffith Park or whatever, it's up by Glendale or something, I don't know, like, let's get on the train and we can get signed up. But she ends up going to Skid Row to do a whole bunch of weird sketchy shit where I've never been in the middle of the day, right down where it says Skid Row, and everything's right there, all the tents, people everywhere. And I was there 5, 6, 7 hours something, watching her dog while she was just like all over the place, just like, it was a trip. But I ended up timing it okay where I was there right across the corner of another big, huge food line, which ended up having some good chicken and rice and shit, some Oreo Thins, and then riding the bus back when I had my Strider with me the whole time. I had my little shopping cart, so that was pretty fun. I mean, not fun, but like that was a unique experience. And the libraries have been closed, and then everything opened up for a while and then closed down just barely again, because now we're mid-July and there are more cases being reported. But LA, if you look on anything in the United States of America, is the #1 most reported cases of coronavirus and most deaths, and that's where I am. And I've seen forensics show up. I've seen people from the park get taken in, and it's just like I'm right in the midst of all of it. South Central LA, Skid Row, Watts, Crenshaw, like all these places, Venice Beach, back and forth. Sometimes the beach is open, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, like for a while, everything was popping. They got a bunch of restaurants open. Everyone was cool. Like there's the what's it called? Oh man, what's it called? The Promenade. So it's just like the really cool, kind of comparable to Utah Mormon-owned City Creek, where it's just like you have all your stores, your outdoor mall. There's a place to charge sometimes, but then the security guards start to recognize you, so it's like, hey, you were here the other day. So it's hard to keep your phone charged, and then they expect you to make all these calls. So the funny thing is I get qualified for the food stamps, but I get denied on the GR, which is like, why can't I get like, I'm homeless, why can't you put the $200 $220? So you get $190 for food stamps and $220 for general relief, but they didn't put it on there. So I switched that up and had to switch locations and write down a whole bunch of notes, and it just has been a pain. But finally got it where I have some cash now, where I could go I did a load of laundry, and I can just be a little bit more flexible with my free time, where I don't have to hustle the cigarettes anymore. That was a crazy experience, because like people will buy them all the time for $1, and it's just like, okay, I can buy 20 of these for $10. I'll sell them to you for $1. But I don't need to do that anymore, because that was just to kind of keep ahead in case I needed a little bit of extra cash, because I really was just on the one card that only works for food. So now I have both of those, but you still have to budget that and figure out what to do. But it's now the 8th is when my stuff re-ups. So I ended up getting a little prorated. Like I kind of got a lucky, fortunate callback when I had my phone charged that worked out, and had to do like 3 or 4 follow-up calls, upload a whole bunch of info, bank statements showing that I don't have any money, all these things, but it worked out. So I got $100 right at the beginning of the month for that first week, and then when the 8th hit, everything re-upped. So I got re-upped on the food stamps, and I got the $221 for the GR. So that was a week ago. Now it's the 16th. So the other thing of note is this is the second part of the month where I'm more into my depressant cycle of how my brain functions. And the first part of the first 2 weeks of the month is when it's more manic, and I'm just all over the place. It's harder to sleep. My brain is moving around, but during the someone's walking by. But during the depressed cycle, like right now, I can take naps during the day, and the days pass differently, where I'm not just stressed out all the time. I can go just chill out at the beach or something, or just sit down and find some grass and take a nap, and still be able to sleep a little bit at night. But the sleeping situation is still tough, because you have to decide every night, am I going to change my clothes and put my stuff on? I'm like sleeping under a tree or at the park, or like wrapped up in my jacket, and then like every few days, like things, you start getting things stink or smell weird or whatever. I have to go wait in line with a bunch of other homeless people to take kind of a dirty shower, because there aren't really clean showers. You can kind of go to the beach and do that stuff here and there, but it's just kind of a pain when you're trying to move bags around. But I don't have that much. I just have 2 big backpacks and then my winter jacket, and I usually just carry like 1 grocery bag around with stuff that I can access right away, so I don't have to open up a backpack. So I've kind of found where I can stash a backpack and the winter jacket during the day, so I can just walk around with a backpack and a grocery bag. But anyway, that's the update. I just wanted to make note of that, because now it's the middle of July, and I set out on that plane flight from Reno with $400 on December 31st and flew through New Year's with 1 touchdown in Arizona, 1 little smooch. That was fun. She was cool. And then flew into Miami. So 2020's been nuts. Just balancing on that. But the nice thing is there's a little bit of comfort knowing that next month I'll be able to get money again without having to just like beg or ask, or I guess that's the one thing on my conscience though, or on my ego. I haven't been panhandling. I don't make a sign and stand outside where cars are. Like, people will come by all the time, especially when I had a shopping cart, and sometimes it's like, here's some food, or can I give you this? One guy gave me $20, another guy's giving me $5, a few people give me $1 here and there. I found a $20 bill in front of the gas station, which is so huge when you're homeless. I was like, no way, I found a fucking dub. And so you just kind of add those up. But right now it's a little bit of comfort, and I found a little bit safer place to sleep where I don't get where you're not sleeping in your subconscious thinking the police might wake you up, because some nights they don't in the park and sometimes they do. And I've found 1 or 2 places where I can kind of plug in and run my phone or plug my batteries, and made a couple friends down here. So that's the update, just to kind of keep up with the vlogs. I don't know how much space or memories on this Obama phone. The Apple Store kind of opened and then shut down. They wouldn't really do anything for me. It's just annoying when I don't really have any other person to bounce ideas off, or like talk to, or just like sit down for a day with a computer, or get online and just like take a shower and sit down at a clean desk with a computer or a phone and like really put some of this stuff to work, because the lawsuits are going to happen at some point. You can't have that many people treating one single individual like that. Like the messages I have that are saved, the videos and the vlogs I saved of all of 2019, and like the experiences of 2020, and it's just like one misstep at that Kmart turns into homelessness. And it's this whole series of events that wouldn't have happened either had they paid me for the diesel lawsuit with that 2015 Golf. Then I would have just been able to continue to pay rent, but that just kind of turned out to what it was. So there's still a case against that guy, the landowner, and then the homeowner that doesn't really know what he's doing. And then same thing with Volkswagen. Eventually they're gonna have to cough it up, because it still has a warranty and an extended warranty, and they took it from me at like 12:30 in the middle of the night in Arizona in 2019. I'm like, you can't, that's not customer service, that's theft. And then I still have to track down those 2 other vans and everything, and like everything out of my extra space storage got auctioned. So I'm sure I've covered all that stuff, but it's just like, when you're down to destitute and everything's being taken from you, and then the people that you think you could maybe depend on have some sort of human sympathy, parents or like friends or whatever, nobody will do anything. Like these small, like a couple people sent $20 and stuff, which helped, or $40, or a couple people sent $100, like that was great, or Matt and Rachel sent me $500. But it's just like, I haven't lost any of my skills or my education. Like it's very simple for me. If someone's like, hey, you want to come stay at my apartment for 2 months? Like, I have an extra room. I'm like, sure. If it's in California, I'm not going back to fucking Utah. If I'm getting treated like this and have death threats, why the fuck would I go back to Utah? I took my records off the church. They should be refunding me all of that tithing and all those fast offerings I've donated, because I was an honest tithing and fast offering payer, unlike a lot of people. Same with like the federal government. They still can't get me my stimulus, and I have like 12 different accountants. How many accountants do I need to get a stimulus check? My paid accountant, Ray Chacon and Associates, or like Jake Lauder, or like Matt Taylor, or like Ben Tingy, or like Phil Mickelson, or like what's the difference if Eliza and I have the same accountant and we had separate checking accounts? They're not joint. It's pretty easy to just review those and be like, oh, look who's the one who just kind of spends the money, and who's the one who knocks doors, goes door to door, and earned the money. Who is the breadwinner? Not Eliza. Like, she paid for her own shoes and her dresses, and I sent her back with that car. I'm like, I'm so happy I'm divorced. Like, because that's the other thing too, is if I could find some local babe that's just like, yeah, I'm kind of homeless or whatever, but like whatever, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, it'd get through it with like, basically, hey, I have 2 backpacks, like, can I take a shower and like, let's hang out. And it wouldn't be that hard, and we could actually make it into like a little bit of a treasure hunt to go track down some of my stuff, because eventually I'm going to end up like I've forecasted in some of these other videos that I don't have reference to, because I can't access my full iCloud. With some of the stuff pulls up in the Google platform on this phone, some stuff's on my iPad, but not all of my stuff is saved. It will be, so that's nice that I can like back that up when I get a new phone eventually. But the forecasting is like, eventually the money is going to hit. Like, there are too many things going on with my companies and like stuff with Sanjeev and shit, and everyone just laughing at me and telling me they're so happy that I'm homeless, and like my own brother Tanner won't send me $12. I'm like, what's your location? Like, let me send you. I'm the big brother now. Like, it's okay. Let me just send you some Carl's Jr. or some Cafe Rio. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro. If you are like 1 year or 18 months older than me, you can't send me $12 when I'm homeless. Like, what the fuck are you to me? That's the one where I get super frustrated. Because it's like, if that same thing happened to anyone that I knew, just like I did with all those motherfuckers that came out for a job and I gave them money, I would find a way where I would respect that person. Where the first initial thing, like when I talked to my mom last, is like, we'll come out and get you. It's like, I'm not a sympathy case. I'm just literally dealing with something that can be fixed with only one thing, a little bit of financial relief that can either be paid back or not. It can be a charitable donation, or it can be like, here's some set terms to have this paid back, but they're still caught up in the 2018 one, which is so fucking funny. But like, I would never treat another person like that. Even when I'm out here and I have a little bit of extra, I'll still give it to someone if I see that there's a need. So I can't understand how that many people can treat me like that when I've been a good energy for a lot of people. So it really has put a lot of perspective on the Mormon church, and like, there's no fucking chance that I'm ever going to have any good feelings for like Dallin H. Oaks and the quorum of the fucking patriarch of old stinky guys that sit in a fucking room, like closed door, with 12 and 13-year-old boys and girls, and ask them about their laws of chastities and their masturbations and their sexuality and their sit right now upon my lap, and like about their words of wisdom, and like how much coffee they have at Starbucks, and it's okay, just try and work on your Diet Coke, and like Jake fucking Louder and all these like sexual perverts and everything. It's like, I don't have respect for that anymore. Just like Tracy Melville posts some picture of like fat fucking man tits, like Mr. Jason Melville, where it's like, what's the difference between Jason Melville and I if we're only 3 months apart? The difference is he fucked around sexually a lot and with drugs a ton in high school, and then got sent home from his mission, sat around and felt guilty about it, and like had this like sympathy thing, like, well, don't judge me, I didn't have to go on a mission, but came back and turns into a fat piece of shit, gets into more sexuality shit, and is going down like a 17-year-old, and then has this picture of him just bald as shit, selling his blood plasma, addicted to like gross ass fucking pornography, with all these fucking gross habits, and just big fat fucking man tits, thinking that he's still like decent at snowboarding, or that someone thinks he's funny or something. Like, you don't have any skills or traits or any desirable, like why would anyone ever want to be around someone like that just sits around like right behind their mom's house, and it's just like watches like shitty shit all the time, and has a filthy mind, and it's just like, well, here's Jason back from his addiction therapy. I'm like, everyone wants to put me in addiction therapy in Utah. I'm like, fuck that, bro. So anyway, that's a fucking half hour. I haven't made one of these for a while, so that was a lot to kind of cover. I'm sure, just like I do, I haven't made one, so I probably just go over and over and over the same things, but that's what I do out here in my brain anyway. It's like, why can't anyone reach out a hand with charity, or why can't someone just man up and be like, we actually like fuck this guy over, or like we don't know what we're doing, like Nick and Scott and Brian with the flick shit, that all stopped, they don't know what they're doing. Or we don't know what we're doing with Enlight, so we're just taking all the marketing material and just recruiting more people from BYU so Sanjeev can feel like he's like a cute little white Mormon like Christmas boy that just got in from Chile, to be like, I love the white American culture, I just want to be white so bad with white people like Tanner Huber and just be white. I'm like, meanwhile, he's the most racist person I've ever met, and I still have my videos that I edited with me on their website with my logo that I designed. He didn't design it, Ricky didn't design it, I designed it, and it's just sitting there, and they're just blasting like every possible way to be like, let's just make sure our Better Business Bureau and all of our rankings are like top-notch professionals. So it just covers the fact that it's just like the 2 fucking trap houses at Astoria and San Juan, where everyone was doing way fucking crazier drugs than I was. I was the one with the megawatt install. They have like Dan and Adam and Spencer and like all these fucking things with Austin Bills and parking tickets, and Luke Wiseman and his fucking dad, and all these fucking drug addicts, and all these fucking like Steve Chada, Carlo, or whatever, like looking at weird ass fucking porn and shit. Like, they're doing all kinds of crazy shit, and then just trying to cover it with like a normal Google mask of like, well, we have a good review because we make cute little marketing videos. I'm like, okay, you still screwed over me, and I'm the one that like did all the fucking legwork, set up the company. So he's just a part of B2 Solutions. He sent his fucking social security and registered it to my dad's fucking house. So like, good luck with that. I'm not on your cap table, and we're not friends, and we're not business partner, and we're definitely not family. So Sanjeev's gonna get his shit handed to him at some point, which will be great. Hopefully he and Steve Teeny, since they're all still talking in 2020 behind my back, have to jump off that fucking cliff for like a team building exercise in 2020. So we'll see what happens, but that's the update. And now I'm having some tea. Raspberry iced tea. So there's a half hour. That's a good update, and then we'll see what's next.